going to want to do is get your feet about hip width apart, hands on the wall, shoulder height, and then from this position, you're going to hinge your hips back, and you are going to come into a forward fold position. You want to try to rotate your elbows so that they point down to the ground and your elbow pits point up to the ceiling from this position. And that's going to be an active rotation. You're going to have to work really hard to get this rotation. And then from there, you're hinging, but as you breathe your 10 cycles, really working on expanding the chest and corkscrewing those shoulders to point the elbows down to the ground. Just let the head hang relaxed. The weight's probably going to be back on your heels, and that is okay. If you find yourself putting too much pressure into your hands, your feet are probably too far back. In the hinge position, you want your legs vertical, and then that way you can load up your legs and allow your body to accept into this stretch. So you're trying to get as much extension in that upper spine as possible and corkscrew those elbows underneath so the elbows point down. We're going to do this for 10 breath cycles. Trap has actually multiple sections to it. So we're going to work the highest portion, the middle portion, and the lowest portion. So the highest portion is going to be right on top. This is what most people think about when they think about traps. And then from there, we're going to work down to the middle fibers, and then we're going to work all the way down to the base. Now this is going to be in between. So first one will be top of the shoulder, but the second one and the third position will be in between your spine and your shoulder blade. So we're going to do this by lying down on our back. We're going to take the ball. We're starting on that top portion. So off to, the ball's on my right side, so off to the right of my spine, just in this bulky top part of my trap. And then here, I like to use my other hand to kind of support my head. And then we're gonna do a chopping motion. So we're gonna slowly reach our arm over our head, and then we're gonna come down and we're gonna chop our hand down towards our hip. You're gonna just keep a nice steady breathing pattern. This can be a little bit tender, so if it's too tender, you can just kind of roll your knees to the side to roll off of it a little bit, take the pressure off, just like we did with the T-spine mobilization. But we're gonna do 10 chops in this position, remembering to breathe. If you feel nothing at all and you want to make this exercise a little bit more intense or deepen the pressure, all you have to do is bridge your hips up, and then you're going to get a lot more pressure on that area, right? Then we're going to take the ball and we're going to move it down about one roll, and we're going to take that spot, or the ball into that spot right in between your vertebra and your shoulder blade, and we're going to do this chopping motion again. After 10 chops, we're going to roll down. We're going to get right down to where your shoulder blade ends, where the point is, just inside that point, on, and obviously in between that point and your spine. We're going to do the final 10 chops on this side. Again, if this is too much pressure, just roll your knees off to the side. That'll take some pressure off. If it's not enough pressure, then bridge your hips up and you can add more pressure to that area. During this mobilization, it's too much pressure. Take some pressure off, be able to breathe through it, and then you can obviously go back and increase the pressure from there. The second mobilization that we're going to do is our rotator cuff mobilization. What we're going to do is we're going to take the ball right where our arm meets our armpit. So we're going right in this area. You're going to lie down on top of the ball. You can see under here, the ball is right in that connection between my arm and my body. And then from here, we're just going to apply pressure. So you just want to hold pressure. We're going to do 10 breath cycles holding pressure in this position. After you do 10 breath cycles, what we're going to do is we're going to go into an internal and external rotation pattern. So we're going to windshield wiper the arm while we breathe through this motion. So this can be tender. Again, if it's tender, you can move your legs away to get the pressure lessened, or you can bring the legs back towards to increase the pressure and put more direct pressure on the area of the rotator cuff that we're trying to get. So again, fixed breathing for 10 cycles, and then windshield wiper for 10 cycles.